Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Bhagavad-Gita as it is, Chapter 14, text 11, 12, and 13. So I'll read 11 and 12 and then we'll chant 13. Text 11. The manifestation of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. Purport. There are 9 gates in the body: 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, the mouth, the genital, and the anus. When every gate is illuminated by the symptoms of goodness, it should be understood that one has developed the mode of goodness. In the mode of goodness, one sees things in the right position, one can hear things in the right position, and one can taste things in the right position. One becomes cleansed inside and outside. In every gate, there is a development of the symptoms of happiness. That is the position of goodness. O chief of the Bhartas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, symptoms of great attachment, fruitive activity, intense endeavor, and uncontrolled desire and hankering develop. One in the mode of passion is never satisfied with the position he has already acquired. He hankers to increase his position. If he wants to construct a residential house, he tries his best to have a palatial house, as if he would be able to reside in that house eternally. And he develops a great hankering for sense gratification. There's no end to sense gratification. He always wants to remain with his family, in his house, and to continue the process of sense gratification. There's no cessation of this. All these symptoms should be understood as the characteristics of the mode of passion. Today, text number 13. Apraksho apratischa Pramado moha eva cha Dashyani etani jayanti Vida Kuru Nandana Apraksho apiritischa Pramado moha eva cha Tamasi evanti jayanti Vivida Guru Nandana. Someone else? Word for word. Sarvadareshu. Repeat. Sarvadareshu. No, I'm sorry. Aprakshaha. Darkness. Praviti. Inactivity. Cha. and pramada, madness, moha, illusion, eva, certainly, cha, also, tamasi, the mode of ignorance, etani, these, jayate, are manifested, viridehe, when developed, Guru Nandana, the son of Kuru. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. When there's an increase in the mode of ignorance, O son of Kuru, darkness, inertia, madness, illusion are manifested. Please repeat. When there's an increase in the mode of ignorance, O son of Kuru, darkness, inertia, madness, illusion are manifested. Purport. When there's no illumination, knowledge is absent. One of the mode and the mode of ignorance does not work by a regulative principle. He wants to act whimsically for no purpose, even though he has the capacity to work. He makes no endeavor. This is called illusion. Although consciousness is going on, life is inactive. These are the symptoms of one in the mode of ignorance. Om Argyanaturam Dasya Srinanjana Slakaya Sakshurimitam Zena Tasmei Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Tapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tanti Swapadantikam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasade Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. When there's an increase in the mode of ignorance, O son of Kuru, darkness, inertia, madness, illusion are manifested. So here we have 3 verses which are describing the characteristics of the modes of material nature. In the very 2nd chapter of the Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna, Triguna Vishaya Veda, is Triguna Arjuna, Nirvando Nitya Sastrasto, Niryoga Samam Atmavam. The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of the 3 modes of material nature, O Arjuna. Become transcendental to these 3 modes, be free from all dualities, all anxiety for gaining safety, and be established in the self. So the Vedas, many branches of the Vedas are there, but it says Vedantikrit Veda Vedavachaham, that actually the Vedas delineate pure devotional service, and that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's the conclusion of the Vedas. So here the mode of ignorance is being described. One time there was a king, he told his men to bring all the lazy people and feed them. So they brought all the lazy people, they put them in a house, and they set the house on fire. So everybody ran outside, except for 2 men who were laying in the house. And one man said to the other man, "It's getting hot in here." And the other man said, "Just roll over." So, of course, they must have ran out eventually, but they could understand that these were the 2 laziest men. That's the mode of ignorance. And what's described here, how the mode of ignorance, when Prabhupada went to America, there was the hippie movement. And Prabhupada, one interview, they asked Prabhupada, "What's a hippie?" He said, "Something unusual." And then he said, "You know better than me." So the hippies were mostly like this. They were trying to escape from reality, from society. Then they weren't very active. They were lazy and they weren't clean, and they didn't do much of anything. They sat around taking drugs and trying to be detached from the society. But it was the mode of ignorance. So the Mayavadis, they also consider the mode of ignorance because they want to become one with God. And these three modes, Lord Kapila Dev has described the devotees in these three modes. So the devotee in the mode of ignorance is called a separatist. Means that he worships the deity and goes through all the rituals. Looks like he's a very nice devotee, but his consciousness is not pure, and he becomes envious, proud, he's angry, he always fights with everyone, and this way we've had so many pujaris like that who are in the mode of ignorance and very would not listen to any authority, thought they knew best. Even if a sannyasi came to do arti, they'd send him away. He can't do my service. This is completely in the mode of ignorance. So these are called separatists. So even devotees are influenced by the modes of nature, but not as bad. At least someone's a devotee, he's not going to be like people in the mode of ignorance. Even in Vrindavan, we see people who are living on the street. They don't even have a house, they don't have anything, but they still produce children. And as soon as the children grow up, they send them out begging. So all they do is beg money and smoke beedies and sit around and do nothing all day. And they don't have anything, but they're still having children. They can't give them anything. They barely have clothes, they barely have anything. And somehow they get what they need. But this is like they're living like animals, almost like animals, like the dogs and the hogs. So this is a mode of ignorance. And in all the big cities in the world, there's a section on most big cities, and I don't know about all of them, but especially in America, there's what they call the ghetto, where the black people live. And there it is dirty, and people are completely in the mode of ignorance, and it's very it's unsafe. You can't go there at night. Too much crime, and people are practically almost on the level of animals. And this is there in practically every big city in the world. In India, we have Mumbai, where so many people live in shacks and live below the poverty level, and very poor conditions. So this mode of ignorance, of course, according to your karma, according to our past life activities, we are put in a situation like this. But if someone becomes a devotee, he can change his karma. That's the one thing. Bhagavad-Gita deals with 5 subject matters: time, the living entity, the material nature, the Supreme Lord, and karma. and of those 5, only the karma can be changed. You can't change the time factor, you can't change material nature, you can't change the spirit soul, and you can't change the Supreme Lord. But karma can be changed. When Dhruva Maharaj became the ruler of the world, he was king of the demons, Lord Nrsimhadev told him, and now you should rule the world as king of demons for 1 lifetime of Manu, which is 71 times 4,300,000 years. So then Prabhupada wrote in the purport, in this case, his karma was changed, that he was meant to live a certain amount of time, but now, due to the will of the Lord, his karma, his lifespan increased to millions and millions of years. So, people in the mode of ignorance, although when we go on book distribution, we meet so many people in different modes. People in the mode of ignorance, mostly hard to get them to take books, and because when people are in the mode of ignorance, they don't have any money, they can't get an education, so they can't read properly. But sometimes we find some innocent souls, even though they were raised in such bad atmosphere, they do become devotees. So it's not impossible. And but we can't go in Harinam in these places, not safe. In South Africa, they distribute food to the Zulus. Zulus are some tribal people, but they have to have a police escort, because if they go there without police, they steal our van. Even though we're going there to give free food to the people, they don't appreciate that. They steal our van. It's happened more than one time. So you got the Zulus, and you got tribal people all over the world. People live in the desert. If you kill a Brahmin, you have to live in the desert. In different countries, people live in the desert. People live in the jungles, and these are actually subhuman living beings, because they're only interested in sense gratification, and they're practically stuck in that environment, in that mode of nature. And from the mode of ignorance, we know in the next life they're going to have to take birth as an animal. So even in the Vaishnava, who's in the mode of ignorance, the separatist Vaishnava who thinks he's the best devotee, who doesn't know how to respect the other devotees. It says if a Vaishnava comes to your house when you're doing your puja, you can suspend your puja for the time being to receive that guest. So, of course, it says when you see a sannyasi first time in the morning, you should offer obeisances. If one fails to do that, then he's should fast for the day, especially householders. So one should not be so proud thinking I'm the best devotee, and those kind of people we should respect from a distance. We shouldn't associate with people like that who have bad character, and if they don't change their character, then their association is not desirable. Although Trinadapi Sunichena, we are supposed to be humble, tolerant, but we offer respect to them from a distance. When Lord Chaitanya was in Jagannath Puri, there one person was named Ramachandra Puri. Ramachandra Puri went to his spiritual master, Ishvara Puri, when he was on his deathbed, and told him, while you're lamenting, you should meditate on the impersonal Brahman. So he offended his guru, and his guru said, get him out of here, I don't want to see this man's face. So because he had offended a Vaishnava, and he became a fault finder and a critic. And this certainly is in the mode of ignorance. And he would call the Vaishnavas and feed them more than they wanted to eat. Then he'd criticize them. And he'd say, and now just see the followers of Mahaprabhu, the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, eat more than required. And when he couldn't find any fault in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he saw some ants crawling in his room. And he said, look here, here's some ants crawling. This sannyasi is eating sweets. Even though ants crawl everywhere, even in the bathroom, doesn't mean there's sweets there. So he was completely in the mode of ignorance, but because he was a disciple of Madhavendra Puri, who was Ishwar Puri's guru, and Lord Chaitanya offered respect to him, even though he was a bad character. And when he left Jagannath Puri, everyone thought that he felt like a big boulder had been lifted from their heads. So this is what devotee in the mode of ignorance. So it's like the dress doesn't make the man, or you can't tell a book by its cover. Sometimes the cover and title of the book are different than what's in the book. So someone may dress very nicely with tilak, neck beads, look like a very paka Vaishnava, but in his heart is filled up with dirty things, and he's always thinking about how to make money or steal some money and go away. This happens so many times. People come and join our movement, stay for some time, and steal the money and go away. So this is due to the mode of ignorance. But we try to reform everyone and bring them to a higher level of consciousness. So the person in the mode of ignorance, he's mode of ignorance is signified by darkness. Means he sleeps more than necessary, sleeps a lot, inertia, inactive, madness, illusion. So because when Prabhupada went to New York, he had to live in the Bowery. And the Bowery was a place where the derelicts, drunkards, would stay. And most of them were homeless, so they lived on the street. And Prabhupada was staying in a place there, and so they were laying on the ground, they'd have to roll over so Prabhupada could go in his room. So this was the situation then, that these people, although Prabhupada was surprised to see it, and even in America, there were such low-class people that living on the street, and he thought that America was an affluent country, which it was and is, but there's still a class of men that live on the street and are usually intoxicated, and they don't take baths, their clothes are dirty, and they are always in a drunken state, an illusion, madness, everything. So this is the mode of ignorance. So Prabhupada stayed there for some time, but then he luckily was able to move out and go to a better situation. So then there's the mode of passion. And mode of passion is characterized by great attachment for fruitive activities, intense endeavor, uncontrolled desires, and hankering. In person, in the mode of passion, the sense gratification is never satisfied. There was one man who was a leopard, and he became attracted to a prostitute. So he told his wife that he wanted to go to the prostitute. So his wife took him to the prostitute. So the prostitute brought him 2 cups of sweet rice. One was in his gold cup and one was in his iron cup. And she said, "Now you taste this. Which one do they taste different?" So he tasted each of them and said, "No, they taste the same." So this is the man in the mode of passion. Although he had his own wife and he had as much sex life as he wanted with his wife, he thought that if he went to the prostitute that he'd get something different. But the sweet rice, whether it's in a gold, silver cup, or an iron or steel cup, it's the same thing. But here it says that those in the mode of passion, they're never satisfied. The Prabhupada went to France, spoke with the Cardinal Diallo. He was a 70-year-old man, but he died in the house of a prostitute. So he couldn't, even though he was a cardinal, a monk, they're supposed to be celibate and not associated with women, but he couldn't control his senses even at the age of 70. And Prabhupada said how people, old men, they go to nightclubs and try to enjoy young girls and so forth. The desire never goes away to have for sense gratification, especially for sex life. And Jayadvaita Swami wrote a book. He said that they did a study, people between 65 and 75 are still having sex life regularly, and people between the ages, this is men between the ages of 75 and 85, having sex life once a week or something. So they had desire. One king asked his advisor, when does one become free from sex desire? And the advisor said, never. And the king said, well, I don't believe it. How can that be? He said, well, I'll prove it to you. Come tomorrow with your young daughter. So he came with his young daughter, and they went to see an old man who was on his deathbed. And the old man, immediately when he got there, all his attention went to the young daughter. So then he could understand that this was a fact. But for devotees it's different. We welcome old age because the senses become less turbulent. Someone is a sannyasi or a brahmachari or someone in the vanaprastha ashram. There's no question of sex life. There's no question of association with women except for important business or for preaching. So even though desire may come and go, just like Yamunacharya, he said, whenever I think of sex life, I curl my lips and spit in disgust. Because he was a king and had so much sense gratification, but when he became a devotee, he gave it all up. But still, the thoughts might come. But still, we're not attracted to it. We don't dwell on it. And we have no interest in sex life. The private sex life is abominable. But people are so interested in sex life in this material world because it's a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, the highest ras, the highest pleasure, is between Radha and Krishna, loving affairs in Radha Krishna. And this is what Ramananda Roy explained to Mahaprabhu when he asked him what was the highest form of devotional service. And he explained that the loving affairs between Radha and Krishna and the gopis. So this is going on in the spiritual world in a transcendental way. But in the material world, it's going on in a perverted way. And so not only is it abominable, but one is never satisfied with sex life. It's like lust, greed, and anger are the 3 gates to hell. And lust cannot be satisfied. The man with leprosy thought he could satisfy his lusty desires. But they're trying to satisfy their lust by putting more fuel in. They're trying to put out a fire, but they're putting fuel in the fire. So the fire, you can never put out a fire by putting more fuel on the fire. So the devotees, we don't go to movies, we don't go to nightclubs, we don't take intoxication, and this frees us from these lower mode, the mode of passion. In the mode of passion, it says people, they want to build big palatial buildings which they can live in. They think they can live in their palatial buildings forever, for eternity. But it's not like that. And someone may die and attached to his house, his building, he may come back as a cockroach in that building. So the mode of passion does not, like the mode of ignorance and passion, does not help one become Krishna conscious. And also Lord Kapila Dev says that the devotee who's in the mode of passion, he is also considered a Vaishnava, but he also has material desires. A devotee should not desire anything but serving Krishna, have no other interests. But the devotee in the mode of passion, he also wants fame and material enjoyment, opulence, and he wants to get as much as he can from the Lord. But we have pujaris who are taking family maintenance and expecting something in return for their service. That also is not pure devotional service. Sometimes devotees serve in the movement for many years, and then they think the movement owes them something. But that's the mode of passion. That's not, we're doing Aitaki Bhakti, which is Savai Pumsa Paro Dharmo, Do Bhakti Rahoksaje, Aitaki Patiyata, Enama Suprasidati, which means it should be unmotivated and uninterrupted. This is pure devotional service. Anyabhila Sita Sunyam, Ganakarma Navitam, Anakanano Krishnano, Bhakti Uttamam. So the devotees in the mode of ignorance and passion, they're very hard to deal with, and they have big false egos, and so even though externally they appear very good devotees, but Bhaktisiddhanta would call them Kali Chelas. People may dress like devotees. Two men came to the temple wearing tilak, neck beads, and neck bead bag for 6 months. And one man got initiated, the other man went away. And after that 6 months, that man never wore tilak again and never had a bead bag again. So he just came to make a show that he was wanting to be a devotee. But as soon as he got initiated, he didn't stop making his show was over. So it wasn't a pure, it was motivated devotional service. And someone who's too over respectful, then too much devotion is a sign of a thief. Someone is overly devotional, overly respectful, that person should be watched very carefully. And we've seen that happen many times. Someone comes, he's very respectful to everyone, and he's very humble, but in the end he ends up stealing money and going away. So this is you have to watch out for these kind of people. But most people in America, they're in the mode of passion, so they have to get up early in the morning and go to work. One boy stayed home from school one day, and he asked his mother, "Who's that man sleeping in the bed?" And the mother said, "That's your father." He said, "That's my father?" The boy never saw his father because his father had to get up early in the morning, go to work, and come back late at night. And the mode of passion, And you know, if you have to ride the train in Mumbai, they have a local train. It's the it's a struggle. You have to fight your way to get on the train, fight your way to get off the train. And so many people get injured and killed every day. And then people do this every day of their life, riding the train. You know, they only have trains that are only able to hold so many people, but they don't have enough trains, so they only can hold half the amount of people that go on the train. So when you get on the train, you're stuck in one place. They tell you to move over, and then when you try to get off the train, the people want to get on the train at the same time. So you have to fight your way on, fight your way off. And this is the mode of passion. And people do this just so they can go to some job, make some money to maintain themselves. And in America, people don't have to do that, but they go to work in their car and they get stuck in the traffic. They call it rush hour traffic, in the morning and night, and it takes them a long time to get where they want to go, which would normally take them a half hour. It takes them a couple hours because there's so much traffic and so much people running here and there. And Prabhupada said, well, why don't they just do their business on the telephone instead of running here and there? Anyway, this is going on, the mode of passion. And so the man works very hard to maintain his family, to build himself a nice house, to get a nice car, to get all these things. But he doesn't understand that when he comes in this world, he has nothing. And when he leaves this world, he has nothing. So it's all temporary. But, so, what's the use in struggling so hard to make money, to maintain everything? It's going to be taken away from you anyhow at the time of death. So for devotee though, it's not that we shouldn't maintain our families and do the needful, but we should only accept the basic necessities of life, not endeavor for more. People are never satisfied. One man was making $500,000 every year, which is quite a substantial income. But he wasn't satisfied with that, so he developed a scheme where he stole money from people, and over the years, before they caught him, he stole $400 million, and as a result, he had to go to jail for 20 years. So just because he was in the mode of passion and he wasn't satisfied, what it says here, people in the mode of passion, they're never satisfied. No matter what they have, they want more and more and more. But they're not happy. One man in Delhi, his daughter was married to a rich man. She had 6 cars, big house, family, everything, but they got divorced. So they weren't happy, even though they had everything. The people are like that. Movie stars, actors, sports stars, they're all seemingly so popular and everyone loves them, but when you find out their personal lives, they're not happy at all, and many of them, movie stars, end up committing suicide. They're not happy, and they marry 5, 6 times or whatever. So the mode of passion, the mode of ignorance, keeps one bound up in the material world. And now we can talk about the mode of goodness. And the mode of goodness works both ways. Someone in the mode of goodness, the scientists, scholars, people who study Vedanta, says if someone studies all the Vedas but doesn't come to the conclusion that Krishna is the Supreme Personality Godhead, it's like owning a cow that doesn't give any milk. There are many people like that who are scholarly, and in the mode of the Sudras are in the mode of ignorance, the Vaishyas are in the mode of passion and ignorance, Kshatriyas are in the mode of passion, and the Brahmins are supposed to be in the mode of goodness. So from the mode of goodness, it can either binds one to the material world because one person feels a sense of happiness, and he feels everything's all right, I'm doing nicely, I don't need any spiritual instruction. The Prabhupada says, when Sukadeva Goswami spoke the Bhagavatam, his sukha means parrot. So when a parrot cuts a piece of fruit with his beak, it becomes sweeter. So not only did the Bhagavatam become sweeter because Sukadeva Goswami spoke it, but because he spoke it in such a way that the general mass of people can understand it. But the people in the mode of goodness and thinking they dress themselves very nicely and have big false egos, they're reluctant. When you ask them to come and sit and hear Srimad Bhagavatam, they're not interested. They'd rather go to the movie or nightclub or do something else. So this is the mode of goodness and how it binds the living entity. We read that before. So the mode of goodness is binding. But also, here it says that in the mode of goodness, the gates become illuminated by knowledge. And then it says when one is in the mode of goodness, he can see things in the right position. So before we were devotees, we didn't know how to see things in the right position. Even our parents couldn't guide us. Parents couldn't tell us whether taking intoxication was good or bad, smoking cigarettes was good or bad, just having sex life was good or bad, eating meat was good or bad. They couldn't tell us anything, give any good instruction to the children. And when the children decide to become devotees because they see things in the right position, that see being a devotee is the way which one should live, the parents become angry and are not pleased. In many cases, the parents, the mother and father, are not pleased to see when they see their sons and daughters becoming devotees, because devotees don't take intoxication, don't eat meat, don't gamble, don't have illicit sex. So they think there must be something wrong with you. If you don't do these things, then everyone thinks there's something wrong with you. One man in Delhi became a devotee at the advanced age of 60, in his 60s, and everybody in his family thinks he's crazy because he doesn't do what they do. But the devotee, by associating with devotees and taking to the process of Krishna consciousness, then we see things in the right position. And we see that from all angles of vision, taking intoxication has no benefit. When Prabhupada first went to America, some of his disciples inquired whether taking LSD was spiritual. And Prabhupada said, no, you can't get a spiritual experience from something material. So taking intoxication may give you some moment relief from the suffering in the material world, but it's not permanent, it's not spiritual. So the devotees don't take intoxication. We don't gamble. Gambling, it means you're taking a chance. You put all your money down on the table, hoping you'll win. But if you don't win, you lose all your money, then you lament for so many years. It happens, so many gambling houses, people go there to the idea that they bring their life savings, they're going to double their money, but they end up losing all their money, and then they're unhappy, and they're lamenting for the rest of their life. So, in the mode of goodness, one can see things in the right position, one can hear things in the right position. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. So hearing is one of the 9 processes of devotional service. So that's why we have class in Srimad Bhagavatam, Nasta Prayashu Abdeshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavatam should be heard on a regular basis, because the Bhagavatam purifies the heart, purifies the conditioned soul. Not Bhagavat Saptaha. People who speak the Bhagavatam in 7 days, but they don't change people's hearts. It's not, Bhagavatam should be heard regularly, not just for 7 days. And the speaker of the Bhagavatam, if he's speaking Bhagavatam for money, then he's also not a bona fide speaker of the Bhagavatam. If he's getting money, or if he's not getting money, but he's thinking he's going to get money, then it's an offense to the Bhagavatam. And we shouldn't hear from such people. The Prabhupada warned the devotees that they shouldn't go outside the temple and hear from non-devotees, because they get contaminated. When some devotees went to Radhakund and got contaminated and came out with the wrong conclusion and ended up leaving the movement. And one person even went to Prabhupada and asked him if he could find another guru. So this is not hearing, because you can hear things in the right position and hear things from the right source. So every day we're hearing Bhagavatam. We should study the Bhagavatam. Prabhupada said tapasya means to read Bhagavatam for 1 hour, or read his books for 1 hour every day. But if you can't do that, and you can read 15 minutes 4 times a day, or something like that, and step by step. Said you shouldn't jump to the 10th canto. These persons who speak on Bhagavatam, they jump to the 10th canto and describe Ras Leela, thinking it's some ordinary sex affair. So they have the wrong conclusion. So once you read Srimad Bhagavatam, beginning from the 1st canto to the 9th canto, step by step. In this way, one will prepare himself to hear the 10th canto, to hear Krishna Leela and Krishna's Ras Leela and all the other pastimes in the 10th canto. Of course, Prabhupada translated the Krishna book first and gave his summary of the 10th canto, but he purported it. So no way can anybody think that the dance, Krishna's dancing with the gopis in the dead of night, dancing with other people's wives, has anything to do with the material world or mundane sex life. It's the difference between day and night, or iron and gold. And Krishna's the devotee, by hearing these pastimes, Krishna with the gopis says that if one hears with rapt attention and with a spiritually surcharged mind, then he will get free from lust, from lusty desire. Lust will be removed from his heart. So hearing from the right source, hearing things in the right position, means only hearing about Krishna Katha. Lord Chaitanya told Raghunath Das Goswami, he gave him 3 instructions: don't dress nicely, don't eat palatable food, and don't hear Ramya Katha, or this village talk. So you can hear ordinary news once in a while, you can see the newspaper or internet, but mainly we should not get distracted by these external things. We should only hear Krishna Katha. Talks about Krishna, talks about the name form. 24 hours a day we should hear about name form qualities of Krishna, because it's all absolute. And also we join in the kirtan and hear the kirtan and play the kirtan. And as soon as one gets up in the morning, we should offer obeisances to the spiritual master. Then we should put on a bhajan or a kirtan to get us out, move us from the sleeping or in the mode of ignorance, so we can come to the transcendental platform again. As soon as we wake up, we should do that. Sound vibration. So we should have some sound vibration in our room, transcendental sound vibration, to keep us in Krishna consciousness. And it says one can taste things in the right position. And one becomes cleansed inside, outside. So, taste things in the right position means we only eat Krishna prasadam, nothing else. You shouldn't eat food cooked by non-devotees, because that will make your mind wicked, especially grains cooked by non-devotees. But in certain circumstances, Prabhupada said, we could eat food cooked by non-devotees if it was strictly vegetarian. But in most cases, whatever we buy something in the market, we have to offer it to the Guru first, with the prayers, 3 prayers, and then it becomes prasadam. Prasadam is the mercy of the Lord. So that's what it means by tasting things in the right position. We don't, especially, we don't eat meat, fish, or eggs, onion and garlic, because onion and garlic are in the mode of are tamasi, in the mode of passion, ignorance, tamasi or jarsi. They're not appreciable. People eat onions and garlic, they smell like onions and garlic. You can smell them a mile away. So we need to avoid these kind of things. And we can't offer to Krishna these kind of things. So Krishna says, Patram pushpam paloto yom yome bhakya prayachati. Want to offer me fruit, flower, water, that's what I'll accept. So Krishna doesn't say, well, you can offer me meat or you can offer me wine. One devotee went to Indonesia and he visited a temple, demigod temple, and the priest in the temple said, our temple is better than your temple, because in your temple you only offer fruits and flowers, but in our temple we offer wine and meat. So it was a demigod worship. That's what people do, worship demigods. Of course, these things are abominable, especially eating cow flesh, eating the meat of animals. It's abominable and disgusting, so we stay away from those things. If one leaves the movement and falls down, his worst thing he can do is go back to eating meat. So the devotee in goodness, the devotee in the mode of goodness knows he shouldn't eat meat, fish or eggs, onion, garlic. These things are forbidden, and we should only eat food cooked by devotees and food offered by devotees. Except if we have to go to someone's house who's not a devotee, we can only accept fruit or milk, but nothing cooked. So this is the process. By living this way, then we become cleansed inside and outside. And that's why it says the devotee is illuminated or shining. And we saw that. Many people had that experience. And they saw Srila Prabhupada. He had an effulgence. He was shining. And devotees are shining. So when we used to go on Harinam in the streets of America, people would say, are you people Americans? And because we were shining. And even if we didn't go dressed as devotees, they still recognize us as devotees. So even if we weren't dressed as devotees, they'd still say Hare Krishna. And because the devotees are shining and illuminating, we see that in our sannyasis, very bright and shining, because they're become more and more pure by the process of devotional service. So anya abhilasita sunyam ganakarvanavitam anunkalena krishnano bhakti uttamam. This is the real devotional service, and at the end of this chapter it says mamcha mamcha charena bhakti-yogena sevate sama saguna. I keep forget that verse. You know that verse? Mamchayo vicharena bhakti-yogena sevate Bhama bhuya kalpate. It says Mamchayo vicharena bhakti-yogena sevate tagunam sam tichaitam Brahma bhuya kalpate. One engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, but one transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. So unfailing in all circumstances, we know that there's competition between the modes, passion, goodness, passion, ignorance. The modes are always influencing us. But one has to come to Shuddha Sattva. From the mode of goodness, then gradually one can come to the pure goodness. And Krishna told Arjuna in the beginning, Triguna Vishaya Veda, that you should transcend. The Vedas mainly deal with the three modes of material nature, but you should rise above that. So this is the goal of our devotee, is that we don't want to remain in the mode of ignorance, passion, and goodness, but we want to transcend it, come to the mode of pure goodness. And from pure goodness, pure devotional service, and we can develop our bhava, develop our love for Krishna. And Krishna can only sit in your heart if you make your heart soft. And if you're still influenced by the modes of nature, your heart cannot become soft. So the heart will become soft when we're in pure goodness and have no other interest but the interest of the Lord. When we surrender, Sarvadharma Parityajya, Mamekam Saranamanja, Amtam Sarvabhavino Mokshashami Masuchaha. When we fully surrender to Krishna, and we have no other interest but the service of Krishna. Because Krishna easily gives liberation, but he doesn't give pure devotional service. He's waiting to see how much you're willing to surrender. When Draupadi was being disrobed in the assembly, she was holding onto her cloth. And Lakshmi said to Mahavishnu, Krishna, your devotee's in trouble, why are you not going to save her? And he was smiling because she was still holding onto her cloth. She wasn't fully surrendered. But when she finally realized that there was no other option but to surrender, she put her hands up and said, Hey Govinda. In this way, Krishna incarnated as a sari and saved her from the shame of being disrobed. So she was fully surrendered. So this is full surrender, when we know that there's no other interest but the interest of the Lord. All our activities are meant for pleasing the Guru and pleasing Krishna. So that's all I have to say about the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. But we're all so much familiar with these modes, right? Especially the mode of ignorance. But the six Goswamis, they conquered over eating and sleeping. Raghunath Das Goswami would only sleep 90 minutes, sometimes not even that. They conquered over eating. He'd take a cup of buttermilk every other day. So they were always on the Transcendental platform, and they're always in the steeped in the ocean of love of Radha and Krishna. So anybody have any comments, questions? You can wake up now. Anybody sleeping? Make it good. Make it good. Question, man.
Couple of points. One is that there is a one Indian Bhagwan, he called himself Osho. He said, you satisfy your senses as much as you want. You want sex, you do as much sex you want, then when you get tired, then you can meditate on Lord.
Who said that?
Osho. Osho. Rajneesh. Osho.
Yeah.
So he has centers in Pune, very big center. There people go, they enjoy their senses, and after having sex, then they meditate on the whatever he gives them.
So what's the point?
This is the point I'm telling that how the senses to be enjoyed, they want to enjoy the senses, they come in the passion and ignorance, that how they are guiding the people that you should be in passion.
Anyway, that's Kaitava Dharma, cheating religion.
Yeah, cheating religion. And then another point is, you were saying that devotee comes in the temple, the four type of devotee come to the temple. one who is in distress, one who is in want of money, one in the knowledge, and one who is inquisitive. So one who comes in the for money purpose, so that person is very sweet, talking very sweetly, doing so much nice service, and where Prabhupada said bhakti-yoga action. So sometimes we cannot recognize that kind of person. Oh, this person is very good, is doing so much service and is sincere, is 10 times attending to the presidents, he go to him, sir, he is on so many things, and after sometimes he takes away some money and learns something. So these are 2 points I wanted to make.
One Muni, Java Muni said that beg, borrow, steal, but get ghee. And also get ghee so you can enjoy as much as possible. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki, Entourage, Bhagavad-Gita ki.